Kaiho organizkeria. Alambuko arskinio orietka. Akalokania koruskiriamkoa antugrihe akaroyentkia.
Thanks to the Australasian Society for Psychical Research and also Tony and Dinika Lambert, the gentleman that has sponsored Janet Ozabar to come over. He's done this for a very, very important reason. They really believe it's important that we are exposed to what is going on in the world, and we're talking about two of the greatest mysteries of our time, aren't we? Crop circles and contact with non-human extraterrestrial beings. Two of the most amazing, fascinating enigmas. And tonight we're going to give you a bit of insight into what we understand regarding both those subjects. And Janet, I think, has done an amazing job so far to help you to understand from her perspective. Well, I'm going to show you how it ties in with my work. And one of the reasons I've stuck this very important quote from Albert Einstein is because I believe it's very, very relevant. What I've discovered in the last 10 years as I've become involved in this whole subject is that many people have all sorts of wonderful theories, ideas, researchers and people like yourself alike on what this is all about. And what I've found is the last thing you can do is to actually create an absolute with this, because it seems to me that every time I try to do that, I'm on a piece of ice that is continually melting as I jump to the next ice floe. And why I'm saying that is whoever does set themselves up as judge in the field of truth and knowledge is shipwrecked by the laughter of the gods, because it seems to me that we're trying to unravel something like an onion, and every time you think you finally got to the core, you find there's another layer to unravel. And that's exactly what's happened for me. Okay, so let's begin.
Akona had rumskritan skoda kaiho organizkeria. Alambuko arskinio orietka. Akalokania koruskiriamkoa antugrihe akaroyentkia. Muskre asigole hamarkuskrianiola.
Now the reason that I've actually let you hear that is because I'm going to explain that strange language to you further down the track. Because that's part of the onion, believe it or not. But first of all, let me give you some idea of who I am and why I'm here and why this has become so important to me. What on earth is a former nurse midwife, a counsellor of 25 years who did relationship counselling and bereavement counselling? How on earth did I get from being all those things into writing a book about ET contact, doing documentaries, and talking worldwide about this subject? It's a very interesting journey. And if you told me 30 years ago that I was going to be doing this, I'd probably have referred you to the nearest psychiatrist. And it's fascinating to me too, because what I've talked about is what people with ET contact find is just as difficult to accept for many of them. Because most of them, or certainly a high percentage, do not actually believe in aliens. So the misconception is that they must be Star Trek fanatics that can't wait to be contacted. Many of them are normal, everyday people that honestly feel that that's just science fiction until they see them. And then it's, well, I must be crazy, because there's no way I can be seeing what I think I'm seeing. And that's exactly the thing they will say to me when they ring me up. Mary, I think I'm going crazy. And when I say to them, why do you think you're going crazy? They start to tell me something about their experiences. And of course, what I know, and they don't, is that millions of people across the world are having similar experiences. And they are not crazy. So how do I know that? Well, what I needed to do first was, when I first got contacted myself by the first experiencer, as I call them, what I discovered was that this person was very sane and articulate. He was having frightening experiences, so was his partner, so was his children. They were waking up in the morning, sometimes with nosebleeds, sometimes with marks on their body. This gentleman actually had a shaved area on one of his legs when he looked in the shower. Now, how can this be? They were all experiencing similar things. And this is another misconception. It's one person who rather likes the idea they're going to be abducted.
I can tell you quite categorically, this is not necessarily fun, especially not to begin with. And it's when it also affects other members of the family, you've got to say what's going on. But ACERN is the first and only, as far as I know, professional organisation in Australia that looks at this phenomenon and offers counselling and support, and also has professional referrals. And when I say that, I have people who are professionals that are prepared to support me and support those that have experiences, from doctors, nurses, psychiatrists and psychologists. So ACERN is the Australian Close Encounter Resource Network, and it's been a very important part of my life for the last 10 years. But one of the things I had to realise very quickly was that I couldn't go in normal psychology and work this out from that parameter, because what people were experiencing was outside our belief system. It was on a multi-dimensional level, and we are still struggling with that in normal psychiatry, psychology, in terms of our understanding of consciousness and the human mind. So one of the things that I needed to do was do exactly what Thomas Kuhn is saying here. Just observe. Drop all your preconceived categories as best you can. Put them aside and just collect raw data. Don't even worry about words like happened or didn't happen, exist or doesn't exist, inside, outside, real or unreal. Put that all aside and collect raw data. And the reason that I've needed to do that is because if I had preconceived ideas, I would not be open to my clients' experiences. And believe me, they've stretched me so many times, I'm not too sure what reality is anymore. But the only way that I could honour their experiences was to be open to what they told me. Honour their experience in the same way that we honour someone's childhood experiences, even though we may not be able to qualify them or actually verify them in the normal way. We only know that they affect people. And when they affect them profoundly, we know they've had a real experience, not a hallucination, and certainly not a fantasy. So the first thing that people say to me when they come to me, there are 3 things they want to know. And the first is this real or am I crazy? Secondly, if this is real and it's happening to me, the next thing they want to know is, how on earth can I put this into my belief system? Because aliens don't exist, do they? There's nothing in history, there's nothing in our education that tells us they exist. Where can I put this? Because it challenges every part of our belief system, our educational belief system, our history, our anthropology, our archaeology. Everything is challenged if we take on board the possibility we're being visited. So how can I fit it, they tell me. So this started me on a journey too. And thirdly, the most important thing of all is why me? And what is it about? What does it mean if this is actually a reality? And I'm going to tonight look at all of that, but I'm also going to take it one step further to where my research is going, and then I'm really going to stretch you guys, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. I'm not asking you to take it all on board, I'm not asking you to believe everything that I'm telling you, but I am asking you to keep an open mind, because it's so important with anything that's new and very bewildering and very different to our reality. The only way we're ever going to learn is to keep an open mind. So who does it affect? It's global. All the indigenous peoples all over the world are aware that these beings are visiting them. And it's in all their mythology and all their real experience. The only ones that struggle with it, believe it or not, are the Western mind, because we have to touch, feel and sense and smell, don't we? Anything else ain't real, and the times that I've heard that one. So okay, millions of people all over the world, all belief systems experience this. All age groups. Now I can tell you the story of an 18-month-old little girl that went up to her mother's bookcase and took out the one book with an alien face on it and said to her mother, "This is the man who comes and gets me, Clowny." Now what is an 18-month-old child doing, pulling out a book and saying something like that? We're talking of all ages, both sexes, professionals, doctors, nurses, farmers, lawyers. Everyone is affected by this, and it covers all types of people. It also leaves real physical marks on the body. This is one of them. This gentleman had this happen to him